Student one, please. Can you read?
So, Michael E. Porter developed the Five Forces framework in order to overcome the traditional strategy tool SWOT analysis. Porter's, hold on. So he made 5 forces and compared to 4? Okay, to make it easier. All right. So Porter's 5 forces pillars are based on the structure, conduct, performance paradigm, SCP, from the industrial organizational concepts. And the Porter's 5 forces are.
Okay, we stop here. Student 2, what are those 3 vertical competition?
The forces, vertical competition is 1 will be the substitution of product and services. 2 will be existing competitors, and 3 is threat of the new entrants, right? So,
and then just finish reading. Give me 1 second before you explain that. We have 2 horizontal competition forces. Please, student 2.
Okay, can you? 2 horizontal is bargaining power of supplier and bargaining power of buyer. The microenvironment analysis is an important milestone in the company strategic planning process.
Okay, thank you so much. So student 1, can you explain these 3 forces, like the vertical condition? So we are talking about services, right, or the products, like the threat of our products, of new, the threat of already the competitors that have been there forever, strong competitors, and the threat of new entrants. So it's actually, I have, like for instance, I'm thinking about Nokia. Okay, do you remember that type of phones?
Of course.
Okay, the Nokia ones. Well, now they are being very popular and reutilized in emerging countries, emerging economies as well. So give me 1 example of a threat of a substitute product or service.
Threat of a substitution is when you have, like let's say, the product or service that we have, and the competitor company is actually have something similar or cheaper, and people tend to try to look for like a bargain, right? If they can go cheaper, or they can go like for the same price, they can get something better.
Do you understand it like that? Let's see, please. Let's check this diagram that we have here. All right. We have these 5 forces. I want you to check like the one, okay, that is like the first one, threat of substitutes. And then you see some people there. Where I was giving the example of Nokia, it's like that type of phone works for my friend Mr. Takeshi, who is 81. And the new product, his smartphone, he doesn't use it. But actually that could be an example of like the old type of phones are substitute for newer and better. And they are, right?
Telephone, substitute would be more like you use horses for transportation and the car gets invented, and now that substitutes horses for transportation.
For instance, I like that. Like substitute for...
Not so much that much of a technological gap, but...
Substitute car for bike, for short distances.
For short distances, what?
Like now they have those bikey thing all around town, right? The blue bike. So if you go like short distance within that parameter, you can use those bike as transportation instead of driving your car, right?
Yeah, I don't need to get an Uber. I have my bike key.
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Okay, I'm substituting. Yeah, could be.
I was thinking more of line, like the same, a company can produce, let's say, juice or water, anything like that. Other companies can do the same thing, but may provide it in a different package, like packaging. Like, so there's juice boxes for kids. There's water bottles that you get on the go. There's cases of soda you can buy. So the more of those options available could be difficult for a company to make profit because there's more categories to compete in, I guess. Something like that. I don't know. That doesn't make sense to you? So,
That makes sense.
Say that
like,
again.
So like soda, how many different form factors is it?
Very good.
Right, substitute.
Yeah, that's basically what
Okay, so the fizzy drinks, as they call it in England, okay? In Latin America, they call it gaseosa because they have gas drinks. Latin America, we call them refresco. It's like fresh. And how do you call it here in America? The fizzy drinks, the ones, the gas drink?
I call it
Soda.
Soda.
Crystal.
Okay, maybe a substitute is like we are aware that soda is not that good anymore, so we want to get those water that have got like vitamins, and it's like substituting or vitamins, or they give me a flavor, but it's substituting the gas. They don't have gas. That could be an example. Yeah.
Yeah, or the energy drinks. Most of them come in cans, huge. But then the company like 5 Hour Energy comes out in a little bottle. They charge the same price, so they're gonna make more money.
So they're making another, substituting that product for another.
That's the same. It's the same industry, I guess, right?
Or, okay, how about this example?
Fine.
Watches. People don't buy as many watches now because you have a clock on your phone. People aren't buying as many calculators because something's come along that replaces that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your watch substitute now is the phone on, on your phone.
Right.
So that's a substitute.
Or the cameras.
Right.
Only the people who really enjoy photography are getting nowadays.
Who point and shoot cameras anymore? It's either professional or none.
Right.
Or your phone.
Oh, the phone have got better cameras.
Yeah.
But
the more disposable.
Then more.
I don't know about the watch thing because he and I have a watch. Women wear watches just
I
for
wear watches every now and then.
Yeah, but I mean,
designer look.
Yeah,
the
I wear
number of watches.
You know what I mean? So
There's not a watch rack at
The thing is,
the
we don't
drugstore
buy it
anymore
for
like there used
necessity
to be.
anymore. Yeah? Because before, everybody needed to get a watch to tell time, right? Now, you wear it, you don't. More like fashion accessory now.
Yeah, I like that example. Lovely example. My example of I'm substituting this type of old phone to the smartphone. That would be a substitution. Yes, I understand that it's a phone after all. Okay, but usually we use more the phone for other functions than as a phone per se.
They
Yes.
don't sell as many desktops as they do laptops.
Number 2, what is that the threat of existing competitors? One example.
The threat of existing competitor is,
Before.
from my understanding, is like when you try to introduce new product, right? Not necessarily new product, like your product into the market, and you have the same similar product that's already out there, right? So is your product going to be able to compete with them in the market if you have the same price? Your price going to be able to compare with them, your performance, right? That's how I understand it.
The competitors that were there already before
But
you
they already
existed,
there,
or at the same time. Give me one example. I want to have a concrete example of already existing competitors. Any field, any company.
Would that be like Apple and Samsung for like smartphones?
Apple and Samsung. And now, very good, we come with the threat of new entrants.
Right.
So the existing Apple, Samsung, a new
The
entrant.
new is like the new company trying to introduce on the phone, like Google, right? Because Google or Amazon came out with a Fire phone that they're trying to compete with Samsung and Apple, and they just folded because nobody liked it.
Right.
Well, but in China, there are new entrants that are competing, and it's working very good in the American
because everybody's got a
market.
favorite, and they're going to start talking about that.
But I was gonna say
It's
Microsoft,
simple.
not Microsoft, Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. And if you go overseas, everybody's got Audi, but you come here. it's
But
still
what could be the
Mercedes
new
and BMW.
entrant?
Audi would, in my opinion, would be the new one.
Audi could be Audi is already an
Yeah, but I mean,
established a competitor.
Hyundai then, the Genesis.
Well, for like the phones.
I
No, Netflix.
I'd say the Genesis
There was
because the G8 is
Netflix and
coming.
Amazon streaming at the same time. They both came out at the same time, but Netflix jumped into the streaming a lot more aggressively and did a lot better, and they hands down own the streaming
And they're going to be.
So it could be the new entrant in that aspect of the streaming.
Wait, let me finish. But now, the other streaming companies are starting to step up their game, and they're starting to take pieces of Netflix's growth.
Yeah.
So Netflix isn't growing the same. It still dominates the market, but existing competitors are stepping up their game and becoming much more competitive now.
Kalani, I have a question. We are talking about those existing competitors, okay? But what are the new entrants? Who is competing now?
Apple TV and
Hulu was coming.
yeah, Hulu really came around a long ways.
Okay.
And everybody and every network out there, since Netflix has started producing its own content now, now all these networks are like, why don't we make our own streaming service? So now you have HBO Go, Showtime.
Correct. I was yes.
I think a lot of the new entrants that we had a good example for is probably something we don't think about, where we don't see every day, but something that comes into the like a company that comes in with like proprietary new innovation that no one else can grab. So like I'm thinking like medical technology. So a company can come in with I don't know, new X-ray that's cheaper than anybody else, some shit like that.
That would be a new entrant that is good on that. But I thought about another example of a substitute product or services. I'm thinking about the traditional taxi, Uber and Lyft.
Yeah,
It's like a new way, right? Okay, very good.
But they also got rid of.
What are the horizontal competition?
I missed the wrong chart.
Okay, so that could be like, it's related to the suppliers and the buyers. So it's not so much, so when we say, I am a company, okay, so I'm going to compete with substitutes of my services of, I'm a taxi driver, so a substitute could be Uber, all right. I'm a taxi of, give me a company name of.
Charlie Taxi.
Charlie Taxi against another one. What could be another one?
Checkered Cab. I don't know if
There's
they have it
the
here.
cab. Here's why
The
you got
cab.
Ponies, the cab, and Charlie's, and then there's a few
The
minor.
Eagle cab that just came out.
Like Eco
gypsy
Cab.
style,
Okay, yeah, but
Well,
yes,
that
I was thinking
owned
about.
Eco Cab was owned by the cab.
Okay, so we have the cab, all right, and we have Charlie's and Ponies, all right. Then the threat of new entrants, that would be a new type of taxi driver, and a taxi company, a new entrant. So about the competition is like the suppliers and the buyers. In this case, could be like the people who use my services, right? Bargain power. What is that? Who can explain that to me, please?
Which one, the supplier?
Yes, bargain power of the suppliers and bargain power of customers.
You know, the prices, whereas you could say the bargaining power of buyers. I mean, Walmart would be the most obvious one. They just come in and tell you what they're going to pay you, and then because they have such a large volume and scale, you know, you have no choice but to give in. And then Nike actually doesn't produce any of their products. They actually outsource the making of all their products. So, but they still have bargaining power because they're a billion-dollar company. So, if you can get a contract with them, you know that for one, they're going to pay, but two, as long as you can deliver, that you know they can sell whatever product you make. So
They're so big and so powerful. But and what was the example of the customers?
as far as like supplier or
Customers. I understand the part like the oil, for instance, you were talking about the supplier.
as far as like customers
To produce gas, if you have like suppliers.
I don't know where customers would really have the
Just think
bargaining
of
power.
like, just think big suppliers, like Costco or Dick's Sporting Goods or something, or Dick's, let's go with that, Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah.
Or,
We're talking
like-
about customers.
So like
Okay.
Under Armour or like something can go into them where get a better price, you know, a cheaper price for the consumer because they're going to sell more, so it's going to expand their profit margin. Rather than if you buy it somewhere else, another store, you're going to pay more money. Yeah.
Of the bargain of customers, for instance.
Bargaining power of customers, you see it in ever since 2008 when everyone all of a sudden started pinching pennies, people started, not just Amazon, but Ross's, Marshall's, all these discount places, people got used to not paying that ridiculous retail markup. And while the rest of the economy has recovered, retail brick and mortar stores are not recovering, not only because of the threat of online shopping, but because people don't want to pay full price for stuff anymore. They learned how to save money, and now they're not going back to that. So the bargaining power of the buyers is in, hey, this is where we're spending our money. You can either lower your prices or lose our business. And that's where that's at with retail. So retail business in general.
That's a little bit, it remind, very good, super good example. That remind me a little bit of the demand factors. Okay, of the competitive advantage, but now we are talking about the company itself, and that could be the power of the customers. What are demanding? What are they willing to do? And then, of course, if I don't have people to sell, I have to change my strategy, probably because the customers, the people who are using those services are the ones who gave me money, right?
Going off of what Kalani was saying was something like Foot Locker. For like the bargaining power, if the customer doesn't want that style shoe, or because Foot Locker will buy so much of that stock or that style of shoe, if in a certain amount of months or years, however long you have it sitting on your shelf, at the end they either send it to we send it to our we send it back to the company, and then there's places like
Payless?
Not Payless,
outlets,
Famous
Ross, like Ross and stuff like that, that'll buy up all the old stock, and that's why you see a lot of nice looking shoes at Ross and stuff like that. Is a lot of this stuff comes from what we used to have on our shelves at Foot Locker. They just sent their old kind of, I guess you could say, discontinued styles that end up at Ross and stuff, because we're not making profit off of it because it's sat there for a year, and it does no service to have that shoe sit there and lose money because you got to keep putting it on sale and on sale and on sale.
Yes. But imagine the profit margin that they have in certain products. So that's if it's better to sell it at a very low price to Ross, for instance, and Ross is, of course, they have a profit as well, right? And it's still cheap. So what is like the real cost and the margin profit that they have? Okay, very good.